I'm Amy.
I'm Wendell.
And I'm Patrick.
And
this is
Yes,
But Why?
Podcast.
We don't do that.
Yeah, I know. I always forget the fact that y'all just, talk and come in on it.
Yeah, no, I'll probably
There's a lot of podcasts that do that.
Yeah.
I guess I do dudes and beer and talking sound differently because of my broadcast experience.
Yeah.
I like the idea of it being a hard in, a hard out. That's my goal, is to take it to the next level and to have a radio show, something like that. So you got to get used to that hard in, you got to get used to that hard out, you got to get used to clock and taking breaks at times and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not dealing with that bullshit at all. No.
I may actually be hosting therapy hour for a month.
Oh.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Oh, iHeartRadio, pretty good.
Yeah. So
fun.
it's a good thing I have the vector call-in system and all that, the Comrex vector and all that. Cause
now you're just bragging.
I will be calling in live to iHeart in Dallas
and
hosting a show.
No, we're a little different. We're more it's kind of conversational. It's kind of like you're a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
You know, you swing in, you hear a little bit of a conversation, and then you can leave and go.
Poop all over everything and leave.
What?
Oh,
you're right. That's what a fly does.
That's what a fly does.
I was like, I don't poop all over everything.
Hop in, poop all over everything. Hop on out.
That's not what I do.
Glad it's going on, guys. Glad it's going on. So yeah.
Oh my God! No,
welcome to the show, everybody.
Welcome to the show, everybody. It's me and Chris today.
Hey, everybody, Chris Jordan.
And we're just going to chat.
Yeah.
We're just going to chat. We live a weird lifestyle. We live a lifestyle that a lot of people don't live, and I find it interesting to talk about. I'm going to be honest, I feel bad. I have Catholic guilt for being able to do stuff. I don't know. I mean, I guess the joys of poverty, sarcasm,
no, poverty is a freeing thing.
Well, no. What I mean is,
it's very liberating.
I was sarcastically saying the joys of poverty because it's yeah, sure, I do theater all the time, and I put all my effort into artistic projects, but I can't pay all my bills.
You
all
could
the
really
time.
title this episode defining success, because that's where. That's where it begins. That's where this whole process begins. And I don't understand your Catholic guilt about it. My Catholic guilt comes in whenever I think about the years that I wasn't doing this shit.
Yeah.
That I could have been and I wasn't. Whenever I tell you about how deep inside I'm a lazy person, you're like, I never see you not working. Even when you're not on the job, out doing a live AV show, you're at home designing websites, you're at home making music, you're
Well, deep inside, I'm a lazy person too, but I can't stop being at the theater, or I get 75 notebooks filled with ideas. I'm writing different things,
And see, that's
lazy
just it,
means
though.
different things to different
that's
people.
That's just it. And at one point, I told you in a car trip to go see Mom that I don't have time to dream.
You don't have time to dream?
I don't have time to dream.
What do you mean?
Because dreaming leads me down 85 paths. I see things in a fractal way. So, the forest, the trees, the paths that go to it, the field in front of it, the whole thing at the same time. So for me to just sit back and dream about something, if I can't see it becoming reality, that's wasted to me. You see? I could have been spending that time dreaming about something that would further what I'm doing now. And at one point in life, I dreamed about all these things. And then one day, I, made a dream reality. I made it happen. And it was well, damn, that actually was not hard when I put my effort into that one thing. Instead of putting my effort into 85 different things and wondering why none of them are happening, it's because I'm not putting my effort into one solid thing.
Sure.
You know? And despite the different projects I have going on, they're all different waveforms within the beam that is the laser, you see. And I view life like light. You know, it's particle and wave. That white light coming out of that bulb over there and coming out of the sun is like multiple different, it's scattered light. It's cohesive to us. We see part of it, but if you take a prism, you see all the different spectrum that it is. Whereas a laser takes all of those and actively squeezes them into one coherent waveform and intensifies it. So it's like the difference between a shotgun and a rifle.
Yeah, but I understand that, like, that's what leads you towards accomplishing things that you want to accomplish. But, I mean, to a certain extent, we all still need to dream, meaning, like, develop our dreams and pull them apart. And I've talked about this before, so I'm sure the audience might recognize this, but I do have that 18-year theory, you know?
Yeah.
Where every 18 years you become a different person. Mm-hmm. And I'm right at the beginning of my third round. And, you know, I'm hitting a wall. I'm hitting a bit of a wall. And sometimes I find that, you know, talking things through with you when we have conversations about what could be, different things to try, that's helpful. That's helpful.
And I think it's because some of what's going on with you right now, even with me right now, because the little man over there, Dalbus, you know, it's a little bit of a gear grind.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's us skipping a gear in the transmission right now to get back up to speed.
Yeah.
And that's all it is, really, because at the 36 mark, you were looking at really turning everything more to acting and writing and stuff like that. And, of course, you know, some of that will be curtailed with the presence of a child.
Yeah.
So you kind of, like we were saying before the show, you just have to refocus that energy. And that's why I'm saying, like, I learned to refocus my energy from a shot, like a shotgun blast and a rifle shot have just about the same amount of muzzle velocity. Okay, like at the end of that barrel, they have the same amount of energy. Boom, same amount of punch. One's going a long distance, the other's going short and wide. Mm-hmm. So if you're trying to go short and wide, that's great, but don't expect to go far.
Well, what
you
is
see
it
what
that
I mean?
You know what? To take this slightly separately, because it just made me think of. I listened to a couple of podcasts, you know, with people who are doing comedy that are, you know, more famous than I am. Let's say,
sure.
Not let's say, actually, they make a lot of
money. Let's just say in all reality,
doing this kind of thing. And the other day, they were having a conversation about how sad it was that people stay in towns that aren't New York and LA and do projects and stuff like that. And I take offense to that. The idea that what we're doing in Austin or what the people are doing in Pittsburgh or what the people are doing in Reno, Nevada
isn't as culturally important.
Yeah, isn't important.
And by culturally, I mean like to the culture of comedy, to the edifice that is the comedic world, that is the comedic life.
The people in New York and LA think they're in charge of all of it. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, and that's kind of what I was telling you. I was doing the episode about for Talking Sound the other day. Like, at what point are you going to both feet first jump in? You know, like, you were pushed into self-employment just like I was pushed into self-employment. I was scared of it. I had a mentor of mine, Russ Reisman, the former owner of the Ale House, who brought me on board at the country club, really took me under his wings and was one of those people, was the first one to ever tell me, Chris, you were the best person I've ever seen, like, work with bands in my club. And I've owned more than one club. And, like, I've never seen somebody be requested as an audio engineer by more bands because of their personality and how easy they were to work with. You know?
I'm sorry, I feel like half of that's some hooey, but that's all right.
Whatever. It like, at that point I started thinking about my own thing. He was like, you should really, like, figure out what it takes for you to like engineer at 5 different clubs. Like this is great that this is your day job, but this is not what you're supposed to be doing. This is not what you're supposed to be doing, and you know it. He's like, you're a deep enough, spiritual enough person that you know this is not what you're supposed to be doing. You enjoy it. You're good at it. You're great in the hospitality industry, but you're not supposed to be working in a kitchen, man. You know, like it pays your bills, but you need to figure something out. And I ended up getting fired from a job after that. And I had left for a wedding and paid all my bills for a month. So it was like I had a month. I had a month in which to use my skills and cobble enough money together to pay my next month's bills as an audio engineer. So I went out, I beat pavement. I went out to the music shops that I knew and talked to the musicians that I knew that had bands and was like, hey, check it out. I'll come and give you live recordings at every single show. You get me in. I'll be your sound guy. I'll provide a live recording of every show so we can get y'all some good material to put up on your website, things like that, and get extra shows with. You pay me as an equal member of the band. So I was making like $30 a night. But at the same time, I was in there with my recording rig, and once I stepped down, I sold recordings to the other bands for $30 each.
All right, bring it back. Bring it back to the New York and LA thing.
Well, it's at what point do you decide that this is what you're going to do? You know, and there's a lot of weekend warriors, not just in the audiovisual industry, but in the comedy industry as well. There's a lot of people that have a day job, and they're happy to have their day job. They enjoy their day job. You know, they are interested in taking it to the next level. They aren't interested in, you know, traveling to Hell Yes Fest from Detroit. You know, they're happy with their little underground scene and with the shows that they're doing, and they're fulfilled with it, and that's great. Some people yearn for more.
No, but so then your argument is that the New York and LA people are correct? That unless you go move to these cities and try to make millions of dollars with it, your art isn't worth anything?
No, that's not the case. What I'm saying is you need to examine whether or not, whether you're in LA, whether you're in Poughkeepsie, I don't care. You need to examine at what level you want to do this. Because even in Poughkeepsie, there's a means by which to make your living doing it.
Sure.
You see what I mean?
I know, we make our living doing it.
And once you can make your living in Poughkeepsie doing it, sure, it's going to be a little bit harder once you get to LA because every third guy and his dog is trying to do it, you know?
Sure.
Much like moving here as an audio engineer was a little bit rough because you could spit in the wind and either hit a sound guy or someone that claims to be a sound guy in Austin. Like before it hits the ground. You know, same thing as hitting a guitarist. Like you'll probably hit 2 guitarists and a sound guy before your spit hits the ground. You know what I mean? So for me to be able to go out and charge $200-300 a night to a venue, it's not going to happen when people are going to be willing to go out and do it for like $25 and a $50 bar tab. You know, just to say that they're a sound guy on 6th Street.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't begrudge. I do begrudge bars and venues for not paying people very well. It can be difficult to do live performances and pay money. It's very difficult.
And it's difficult to break into an industry. So can you really fault the person that's doing that? You know, that's taking their first gig as a sound guy who, sure, you might have been charging $1.50 on the night. And this is the mentality that I brought to the bar owners whenever they would say, we'll pay you $75 a night and give you a $25 bar tab. I was like, how about you pay me $125? I show up 2 hours early and I don't drink all night. How about that? How about I don't drink your liquor, I show up early, I stay here, I don't go down the road and sound check my buddy's band, then come back. Like, how about I'm here, I'm a professional, and you pay me more money for doing that?
You know, interestingly, though, a lot of times professionalism is not what people care about.
No, it isn't.
Being a professional is not what people want to be able to show up when they want to show up, do what they want to do.
Sure.
And